Okay, so now that we've got some sort of motivation behind running a full node, it's time to ask ourselves, well, which full node should I run? How do I go about doing this? And the way that you think about it is, well, why can't you just go over to, bitcoincore.org and download Bitcoin Core as it suggests for Windows, Mac, and Linux? And there is nothing wrong with that. You can do that. However, what you're going to find difficult is integrating your Bitcoin Core software that you download from here through to your hardware wallet. Um, you'll also miss some sort of, potentially some advanced features like multisig and for example, coin control. These features aren't built into Bitcoin Core, and for very good reason as well. Um, so what we need to do is find a stack that helps us manage these things and allows us to use Bitcoin and interact with the network in a more feature-rich way. So the way that you would think about it is there's also different stacks. Like for example, BTC Pay Server is a stack. The Samurai Dojo is a stack. There's other Raspberry Pi implementations like Raspberry Blitz or Raspberry Bolt. So those are the types of stacks that are available on the market. However, the one that I have found to be quite easy, quite user-friendly, quite fully featured is the myNode project. And that you can find at myNodeBTC.com. And so you'll see the easiest way to run Bitcoin, Lightning, and more. So when we want to run a full node, this is an avenue by which we can easily access the Bitcoin network in a more feature-rich and user-intuitive way. So I have gone down the path of exploring myNode, and I want to show you some of the trade-offs that we're also making when we download a piece of software like this and install it on hardware that we're going to need. So you can see full here that there's features and products that it sort of or the hardware that it comes with, and so on and so forth. Now, the ideal thing to do here is to I have built my own, and so it will kind of look like this, but you'll see the hardware that I'm recommending for you to have the best chance of success with this project. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about is the GitHub repository. So if you click on this little icon here, this one will take us to the GitHub repository. Now, what is GitHub? GitHub is a place, well, it's a repository where all the code base of this project is fully open source. Now, you may not be a computer programmer, or you might not understand code, and that's fine. But it's important to at least acknowledge that it is open source, meaning that anyone can read the code, and that's really, really important from a security standpoint, specifically when it comes to our money. So this is the GitHub repository. It's owned and maintained by the lead contributor, which would be Taylor here. So this is Taylor, and there are other people who have obviously contributed to the project as well. So that is where you would find more information. The other thing that you would want to have a look at is the issues section. And this is where you can find common problems that some people may have been facing. So you can look at the ones that are currently open, you can look at the ones that are closed and resolved. And the other thing is that because it's an open source project, you can also do what's known as a pull request. And a pull request is essentially saying, hey, I've written up some code that I think this project would benefit from, and what it could fix or what it could enhance or any sort of suggestions for Taylor to then merge that into the master base, so then everybody else gets a copy of that code and runs it on their hardware as well. So you can look at what's open right now, you can see what's closed, and what's been merged in and what's been rejected, so on and so forth. Okay. So that is um, a, a thing that you'll likely to will need to get comfortable with. It's really important that we understand that it is an open source project, meaning that it is available for people to have a look at. But the other thing is, if you're not a computer programmer or you don't understand code or anything like that, then what you are effectively doing is you're almost trusting Taylor. And that's one of the, I guess, downfalls, or not downfalls, but I would say a risk that needs to be to be known and just be cognizant of, is that what if Taylor puts through a malicious piece of code into the software, and then we download that, upgrade our devices, and away it just steals all our funds. So that is something that we need to be very, very skeptical of. And so I think where as this sort of builds out and gets more followers, like for example, this is the number of stars, as compared to say, for example, Bitcoin. Like if you look at the GitHub repository for Bitcoin, you will see that there is significantly more eyes, like 42,500 sort of likes, and a lot more people and a lot more contributors and a lot more you know, eyes on this code, as compared to, say, for example, a myNodeBTC, which is a smaller project, obviously. So it's really important that there are eyes on this code, but also that when we make upgrades or when we push upgrade or to our devices, that we aren't doing it blindly. We need to understand what exactly has changed, why the change, and if it's some sort of issue. Now, there are certain trade-offs that that this project makes to make it easier for you, and I'll allude you through to what some of those trade-offs are. The other thing is you might want to also join the Telegram group. So the Telegram group is essentially where you can find, well, the community. We will start our sort of journey in through myNode from here, and I'll go through each of the features and how to set this thing up in a nice, hopefully, user-friendly manner. And so as there are a couple of trade-offs or a few trade-offs that are being made here, I'll also allude you to those trade-offs so you understand what's going on when you put this device, or you make this device and implement it into your own home and your network. Other than that, let's sort of get started with this project with the hardware of what we will need to successfully run this project. And then we'll move on to the software. So if we go on to the download section, we can say that, okay, we'll need to collect hardware. And this is where we need to look into ordering some devices, getting some things that we can use to store the minimum requirements, or to make sure that we have the minimum requirements to successfully carry out this project. A lot of people have stumbled along the path and it's created issues and problems when they haven't sourced correct or good enough hardware. So it's really important that we get the hardware right. So let's move on to that.